Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Stone. I'm your host, Robert Runyon, and today I'm gathered with Rick Wong from Seller Metrics. Rick, how you doing this morning?
Hey, quite good. How about you, Robert?
Man, I am doing absolutely amazing. I appreciate you asking. So tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about Seller Metrics. Brag on yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been in the Amazon seller game since 2016, and I think my claim to fame, I guess, kinda is that in 2020 I sold my Amazon business for close to 7 figures, and then it is right after selling my Amazon business that I founded Seller Metrics, because when I was an Amazon seller, I never was able to find like an Amazon PPC tools that really for the seller, built by the sellers, because I don't feel like a lot of software out there really optimized for time. So I think when I build Seller Metrics, I want to make sure that we're not only optimized for the ROI on the Amazon PPC, but we're also optimizing for the seller's time. Because when I was a seller, I did a lot of different things, sourcing, Amazon PPC, hiring, product research. And I feel like sellers just don't have that much time to manage their Amazon PPC. So I just want to make sure a software is out there that not only, improve your ROI, but also streamline all your optimization process, because Amazon sellers do not have too much time to spare on Amazon advertising.
You hit the nail on the head right there, and that goes a perfect transition into what we're going to talk about today, which is growing your Amazon advertising campaigns effectively, because we're going to show the most effective ways to optimize and scale your advertising efforts, plus a few extras. That's coming up next on Behind the Stone. Welcome back to the Sunken Stone channel, where e-commerce brands, agencies, and do-it-yourselfers receive tips, tricks, and tutorials to improve strategy, growth, and operations every week. So be sure to subscribe. Just click the red subscribe button below or click on our channel page to see more videos. Today, Rick and I are going to show you actionable steps to lower your ACoS and improve your ROI. So say you've built a successful e-commerce business, maybe you're not sure when to use certain types of ad targeting types and how to use them. So first thing we're going to talk about is all the things that you need to consider when thinking about triggering search terms to be added to your existing advertising campaigns. Rick, can you speak to that? That's really a hot subject of discussion. Do you have any examples you could provide?
Yeah, so let's begin talking about search terms. So search term, I think a subject that sometimes get lost in the Amazon PPC world, because it could be a little technical and a little bit uninteresting at times, kind of like a math class in high school. I guess let's start with what search terms. Basically, there's search queries that Amazon would type on the search bar on the website, and let's just say, for example, if a shopper searched for doormat and your product resulted in that search, and the shopper clicked on that ad or / your product, then the search term doormat will get attribute as a click to your ads. And one of the ways that Amazon, you can really scale out your Amazon PPC campaigns and increase sales is to continuously add these search terms as new keywords into your manual campaign. I think we'll talk more about the different types of campaign target, manual, and auto a bit later. There are different terms for this particular process. I think search term harvesting, search term isolation. Robert, have you heard of any other terms for this? I think there's different terms, right? Am I covering all the terms for this?
There's a variety of them. Actually, we have a whole Amazon advertising PPC playlist. I'll link it up here in an info card for y'all to check out. Our director of Amazon advertising strategy, Lucas Matthews, takes you through the ins and outs of all different types of campaigns. So I'm not the advertising guy.
But there's different terms for this. Yeah, so basically it's just adding your search term into as a new keyword, right? So usually this is a very tedious task, and it's just easier said than done, right? Another thing you want to do another thing you want to do is to be really highly selective into like search term that you want to add to your campaign, such as have this particular search term been attributed to an order, or what is the click-through rate? Because all these metrics would affect your listing and indirectly your Amazon campaign metrics. So having a set criteria that you're comfortable with would help. And what I like to do is set my criteria to at least having the search term of at least one order, and then use my own personal judgment to make sure that keyword is relevant to the product you're selling before adding them. So eventually, as a seller, you will develop probably your own filtering process to do this. Another actionable step I would take in terms of adding your search term is that to map out your campaigns to related product groups. What do I mean by product groups? So product groups is basically a group of products that would have the same keyword. I think a good example for product groups is basically your main product and a variation of products, right? So they would
like parents and childs, right?
Yeah, parents and child. So basically, you're selling a set of doormats. I'm going back to that example. So you're selling a black doormat, red doormat, yellow. So they all have like more or less the same keyword around them, right? So I would call that like a product group, right? So having all this like product group mapped out. So once you get like a search term for these products, you know what specific campaigns to add these search terms to right away. So that's why, that's another topic for another time. That's why campaign structuring and naming is so important. When you add these search terms, it doesn't also need to be like a one-to-one relationship. So when you have a search term, you don't necessarily have to add that to that one manual campaign, right? You can add it to multiple campaigns, such as your sponsored product, sponsored brand video campaign. So you could really scale out your search term and adding new keywords that way, right? And for example, if you have a new ASIN, right, you could also add that into your sponsored product and sponsored display PAT campaigns as well. So basically, the combination of how you can add your search terms into your campaign is quite endless. So I think the important thing is that have your campaign well structured and mapped out would make the whole search term harvesting process so much more efficient in your Amazon optimization strategy.
No, that's absolutely perfect. And like, I was going to ask you a couple questions about search intent. Are there intent-driven keywords, on Amazon, for example, that people should be adding into their campaigns? Similar to Google, you can do a Google search, and
right.
Sometimes you pull up guides or this versus this. Sometimes you pull up service pages. Is it the same in Amazon advertising?
Yes, quite the same. So I think it's like a keyword relevancy. There's like different levels of relevancy, so you can kind of see it as a pyramid. So I think like the highest search intent is like a keyword or a search that is like 100% directly related to your product. So again, going with the doormat example, let's just say you're advertising for a black doormat of a certain size, right? So if the customer types black doormat, and let's just say your doormat is like 4x6, right? And you're like typing black doormat 4x6. That's like 100% relevancy. So that is definitely a very high search intent keyword. So there's like a pyramid to that. So the next level will be black doormat, etc. So I think you need to group the search intent by how relevant it is to the product. And I think that's something that you need to really use your own judgment, because there's really, maybe the software is getting better, but I don't know any software out there can actually map out the shopper search intent to the actual product perfectly. So having the ability to not only use different software tools, but also having that human touch would probably produce the best results.
Sounds like you and I came up with a great idea for a new tool.
Yeah, I know, like it's AI and product relevancy, search intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually a perfect transition. What are the things that e-commerce business owners or Amazon business owners should know about different campaign targeting types and its main objectives? You know, every single thing is different. Every single campaign is different. You know, can you speak to that? You got any examples that you can provide?
Yeah, so yeah, I think like the two main parties, basically two main targeting types. That is the automatic and manual campaign types, and that is on your sponsored product campaigns. Sponsored product campaigns are allowed automatic campaigns versus sponsored brands and sponsored display where it's only manual. With the automatic Amazon campaigns, these are loose match campaigns, and it basically gives Amazon the permission to basically find the keywords and ASIN for them to bid on. The only information that Amazon has is your listing, right? So basically it allows the Amazon algorithm to go out, find these keyword matches, versus where in manual campaigns, if you actually start creating a manual campaign, you notice that you have to provide those keyword matches and match them to your ads. So it'll step you through the process when you add a campaign. If you choose a manual campaign, you have to add your keywords and then add your listing, right? You can kind of think of the automatic campaign as telling Amazon the destination of what you're trying to do without a map, right? So the map being the exact keywords and stuff like that. And on a manual campaign, on the other hand, is opposite. You get to control what keyword product listing to target specifically with a corresponding bid as well. So this high level of control allows you to get really relevant keyword traffic, right? And I think your second point is that what are the objective and the examples that I could provide for using these campaign types. So I think you have to think of a different objective that you want to set, especially for auto campaigns. With auto campaigns, I feel like a lot of sellers are using them in the wrong way. For example, I think a lot of sellers just see auto campaigns as using them with sales objective in mind. But I do feel in my experience that auto campaign does really well when you use them for research and confirmation, right? Instead of just pure sales. Of course, we all want sales, right? But the auto campaign where they really shine is basically those two objectives. So what do I mean by confirmation? So when you run your auto campaign and start gathering data, you want the data to basically match the product that you're selling, right? The question that you're trying to answer is, does Amazon see the product the same way you do, right? That's basically answer your question, is your listing well optimized, right? If Amazon is seeing the product the same way you do, right, that means your listing is well optimized and you would have more confidence in increasing and scaling out your Amazon campaigns, right? Yeah, so I guess another way to put it is that your auto campaign can be like your hunters gatherers, gathering keywords, additional research, and your manual campaign could be your farmers, right? Like once you have a good set, of very relevant keywords, basically you just constantly bidding on them, getting the sales, right? I think that is the winning combination to grow your sales. At the same time, also simultaneously lower your ACoS as well.
So basically what you're saying is that with your research and confirmation, you're developing a list of keywords, but then you're running ads against them to see not only the click-through rate, but you're also seeing the sales that stimulate from those. So you're validating exactly your hypotheses that you're putting into developing these campaigns. And if you see that campaigns have a bunch of keywords in them that are just costing you a bunch of money, your ACoS is through the roof, you're going to dump those keywords out and add more profitable keywords, or you're going to guess to use that research and confirmation and then put those into other campaigns and scale them out, which kind of ties back in what we talked about in the first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so as I say, confirmation, once you get the data, for example, with our doormat example, if you're getting like data that is like, so that's just very important to like look at the data personally, like, you know, having that human touch of looking at the data yourself as well. So let's just say you're getting like, you know, keywords such as like dog mat or basically placement mat or table mat, for example. Mm-hmm. So that is when you know that maybe your optimization is off, because the keywords that you're getting doesn't really, like in the auto campaign, doesn't really exactly match your product. So maybe at that point you need to look at your listing again and re-optimize it.
So you make a great point there. So coming from a background in, you know, Google advertising, Bing advertising, we all know about the quality score of an ad, you know, like the relevance, what the content that's on the page, and like the expected click-through rate. So does Amazon have those same metrics in place for their ads? Like
Google Ads, like Amazon PPC doesn't explicitly state the relevancy score, but we kind of deduce, like the Amazon PPC community kind of deduced that it's kind of there, and a lot of times you can kind of see that reflected in the click-through rate matrix, right? And also there's also the phenomenon where if two products are more or less similar, right, bidding on the same keyword, the product that is more relevant to a keyword has, in most cases, a lower cost per click than the other product. So we know relevancy is an important factor based on that observation alone. So I think a good click-through rate that, you know, at Amazon, again, it really depends on your specific product, but what we observed here in seller metrics with an aggregate of seller data, that a click-through rate of 0.5% is something that you should strive for. That is above average, right? If you have a click-through rate of a keyword over that, then I think the relevancy of that keyword to the product is pretty strong.
So you might make a great point, and this is a perfect transition. Let's say that we're trying to prevent using too many keywords in our ad group, and we want to be able to calculate our ACoS correctly. You know, can you show me any tips, tricks, or best practices that you all use at Seller Metrics?
Okay, so when I was a seller, I think there was two things that I did. I recalibrate two things that allow me to do better on my Amazon advertising. First, I would limit my ad groups to 100 keywords, right? If you have more than that, your campaign budget will not have enough to test and optimize for all these keywords in the ad group in a realistic time frame, right? If you have, like, say 1,000 keywords, for example, which is the Amazon ad group limit, by the way, if your daily budget is not enough to like test all 1,000 at a reasonable time frame, so basically what it'll do is that you'll run into like what I like to call a whack-a-mole situation, where you'll like only have enough budget to optimize 100 at a time. So basically, like, it'll take you like forever to like optimize your whole set of 1,000. So basically, you don't want to do that, right? And the second thing is the naming and also the campaign structure is like very, very important. Having the proper name really allows you to quickly attribute your campaigns by products, ad types, and strategy. And this allows you to like really quickly align your ACoS on your dashboard to your strategy. Right? As I mentioned, you want to attribute by products, ad groups, and strategy. So that's basically the three elements you want to add when you name your campaign. And lastly, I said 2 points, but I'll just add the last three with the obvious last point, which is to adjust and optimize your bids on an ongoing basis, at the very least once a week. So that are some of the best practice I would suggest for the Amazon sellers.
Basically, what you're saying is if you have profitable keywords, you want to make sure that you're increasing that bid while you have other keywords that you bid on, and you see that your ACoS is through the roof, and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to cut my ties. I'm going to test out another keyword so that I can research, and then I can also justify using that keyword inside my campaign. So that's also a great transition as well. So what are the things that, e-commerce business owners or Amazon business owners that are listening right now should look for when trying to add traffic to their Amazon listings using different ad campaigns? You got any examples you could talk about there, or any tips or tricks to share?
Yeah, so in terms of adding traffic, obviously, you raise your bid, you should get more traffic, but your ACoS will go up. There's always like a traffic to bid curve. Like the higher you bid, the more traffic that you'll potentially get. I think the second point, would be to try out and test new campaigns and features on Amazon advertising. Amazon advertising or /PPC have been really rolling out a lot of new products and features over the last 2-3 years. And the advantage normally comes to the early adopters of these new features. I remember it with maybe 2 years ago or maybe more, sponsored brand video rolled out. So that would be the video that you see in the middle of the page on the Amazon search results, right? I was one of the early adopters, and these campaigns, ROI was just amazing, and they are still pretty good now. So basically I was mining that for the last 2-3 years, right? Getting ridiculously low ACoS while really scale up my sales. So being not afraid to try new Amazon features and product out is one thing. So I think right now in late 2021, I think the newest and shiniest features that I think you can test right now would be the sponsored display audiences. So I think that is something that sellers should really look into testing out. And if you have a higher budget, you can you could look into Amazon DSP. But that is more less self-serve. So if you want to use Amazon DSP, you could look into partnering up with Sunken Stone. So yeah, so basically, just be willing to spend money and time and just test out new campaigns and features on Amazon advertising.
Yeah, you make perfect sense there. And actually, we just released a video, Lucas did, with predictions for 2022 and all the changes to Amazon advertising. I'll link those in a card above for you all to check out. And you had mentioned about Amazon video ads. Amazon video ads are going to be huge, especially in 2022. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of these platforms are all about video, and that is exactly where we're going in the future. And so I think that, by investing in the video ads, that people will have a greater ROI than just continuing to run single automatic campaigns, for example.
Yeah, so right now the supply and demand dynamics for videos right now, we can see it not only in Amazon, we see it across the board in terms of social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. So video is the way to go in 2022.
Do you have any final predictions, on changes to Amazon advertising, anything that you see in the future?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more towards an audience-based targeting, such as Amazon DSP. I think Amazon is really mixing in their other off marketplace assets such as Twitch and IMDb into the mix in terms of advertising. So I think being able to bid on those placements early will probably give you an advantage.
That's perfect. I appreciate you for being on the show. Appreciate you coming on speaking to everybody. Guys, for more great tips on how to streamline and automate your Amazon PPC, be sure to sign up for a trial with Seller Metrics, where you'll save time and lower your ACoS on your Amazon PPC. You can get that by clicking the links in the description box below this video. So what's your next step? Reach out to Rick and the team at Seller Metrics. Do your homework. Make sure you're mapping out your keywords. Watch this podcast back, listen to it over, pull out any kind of tips or tricks that Rick and I had. And if you have questions, reach out to him and his team. They care. They want to take care of you guys. If you really want to level up your e-commerce strategy, then watch this video next. It's called 5 Proven E-commerce Marketing Strategies to 10x Your Business. You'll learn insider secrets from Tanner Tozan and CEO Adam Weiler on how to scale 7- and 8-figure e-commerce businesses. Just click on your video and I'll see you on your screen now.